Okay, so in my research study, I focused on the attitude and social cognition piece of social psychology, and I believe that people who have lived through the COVID-19 pandemic felt more loneliness, fear, and symptoms of depression and anxiety than they experienced prior to the pandemic. I'm a 17-year-old girl, and my hypothesis includes my demographic, as I have seen firsthand how difficult it has been for adolescents to overcome the challenges placed by COVID-19. The hypothesis I created states that 17-year-old females that experience the changes in the world caused by COVID-19 will have reported experiencing more symptoms of depression and anxiety than 17-year-old females did before being impacted by COVID-19. The independent variable in this situation is living through the COVID-19 pandemic or not, and the dependent variable that results from the independent variable is the degree to which symptoms of anxiety and depression are experienced in the sample population. To research this theory, clinical interviews could be utilized, asking each participant in the study to explain their feelings of anxiety and depression before the pandemic and after. And this flexible conversational style would likely be more helpful in getting the actual feelings of the interviewee than like a questionnaire would. But these interviews have their drawbacks, as their flexibility can result in responses that are too varied, and participants may recall something inaccurately. So to counter this, a structured interview could be used by giving the participants a questionnaire and asking them all the same questions in the same way. The results of the clinical interview and structured interview should both be considered when developing a conclusion, and hopefully by interviewing the participants in two separate ways, the limitations of the clinical interviews would be avoided while also getting a good grasp on the point of view of the participant. Some confounding variables that could change the results include the activity level and diet of the participants during the pandemic, because that can have an impact on your mental health, as well as the mental health status of the participant before living through COVID-19, because if they were already experiencing something, that might kind of sway the results a little bit and we'd see less of a change. So these confounding variables may sway the results and cause inaccuracies in the results of the study.